Shedden knows he's got to make this move sooner rather than later. This is it for second place. Through he goes. The lighter Honda goes ahead. Is it Shedden? Is it Prio? Round 2 of the championship. It's going to be a Honda victory, but only just. Gordon Shedden wins. Shedden round the outside to grab the leader. McNeil at the inside. Gordon Shedden wins round 7.
I don't think in 9 years in touring cars over a weekend which delivers so much bad luck.
Colin Turkington wins. Shedden is off. Shedden is off. Gordon Shedden's having a miserable day. Colin Turkington comes through to score victory.
I have had enough of this place this weekend, to be honest.
Jack Knopf wins at Snetterton. Tremendous drive and a very popular result. The end of an all-action weekend here at Knockhill. The story of the British Touring Car Championship takes another twist and another turn. Wins for Rob Collard, for Gordon Shedden, and then at the end of the day for Matt Neal and Paul O'Neill. We've had probably 3 of the best races to make up one great day's racing we've had all season, really. Some tremendous battles, lots to talk about, and the championship wide open again.
Come alive, isn't it? And it is interesting what you say there. I think that race 1 and 2 were just like race 3s, and race 3 was a typical race 3. So every single race today has been absolutely stunning, and now we've got a championship that is just looking wide open.
Take the 3 winners. Rob Collard first of all. Tim Harvey and I in commentary have been saying during qualifying, if only he qualified better. Well, he did, and he got up to the pointy end and he had that victory. Over the winter, people were almost writing him off. There wasn't an obvious seat for him because people were being signed for BMW, and Colin Turkington may have stayed with the team as well. And he's come out fighting, and he's driving perhaps better than we've seen Rob drive for a few years. And he's distracted by having his son racing as well. There's a huge amount to do over a weekend, but he's like a man inspired again.
He is. He's unbelievable, and I got a lot of time for Rob as a driver. But qualifying, you know, I think he had about plus 9 kilos or something. He had very low success ballast, and I even had a go at him and I said, what are you doing, mate? You've got to be getting right up the front and doing that qualifying right, and you'll be winning all the time. But he just makes up for it ever so well. And I think having Andy Prio come in the team and Sam Tordoff, he's now got 2, proper drivers that are pushing him along, and he's just reacted by just, smoking him in the races.
Gordon Shedden, you can never discount him. If you look in the dictionary for commitment, it says Gordon Shedden, and the moves he pulls and the energy he puts into his racing, that second race win was not only very well deserved, but again, it was with huge commitment. Is he the best driver on the grid at the moment?
I'd say he is, yeah, definitely. To come back from that at Snetterton, I kind of thought, would he be getting close? Is it going to be okay? We got here. And he's just right. He's right back in. I can't believe he's second in the championship. But I did say at Snetterton he had a big fire in 2012, and he come back and won the championship. He's been there before, and that's what's doing it for him. He's been there before. He's got the experience. But I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think he is the best driver out there, and he should win the championship.
And then, talking about people that are right back in it, Matt Neal, bang, he's up to third in the championship again. Where did that come from?
Unbelievable, isn't it? Matt Neal, where does he come from? But he drove really well today as well. Absolutely grand. He's been driving great all year.
He has.
And I think what's helping him as well is he's never quite right at the top of the championship. So he's always not got as much ballast as the top runners. So when it gets to that running at the very end of the year, and if he's about 6th place or something, he could have a fantastic chance of winning this championship. And he is a reinvigorated Matt Neal. He's brilliant.
Andy Prio. Bit physical, third race?
Yeah, I don't know what got on with Andy there, because I've never seen him drive like that, and he never seen it in World Touring Cars, and he's come back here and it's as if he's been watching too many touring car videos, and he's just kind of like, I've got to muscle people out of the way. It's really bizarre. I really didn't expect that from Andy. It was as if he had something against Aidan Moffat, and it really isn't like him. And I think that it will get reversed, or it might have already got reversed, and Aidan Moffat will have 3rd place now as we move on to the next round. But that's such a shame, and he is very physical. But he's the top BMW driver now in the championship, so he's made it work for himself.
And so 3 races, loads of drama. You can always guarantee that around Knockhill. Let's have a look at the best bits of our annual trip north of the border.
Oh, my life. You stood by me when no one else was ever behind me. All these lights, they can't blind me. With your love, nobody can drag me down. Nobody, nobody, nobody can drag me down. Nobody, nobody, nobody can drag me down.
The Turkington family has been a regular feature of the British Touring Car Championship paddock for many seasons. Colin, of course, is the reigning champion, and omnipresent, wife Louise and his 2 boys. Paul O'Neill caught up with Louise Turkington during the weekend to find out what life is like for the Turkingtons off track.
What is it like to be the wife of the legendary Colin Turkington? What's the one word that it would explain it on a race weekend?
I think the word that explains it would probably be focus. And within the BTCC, everything is pretty much a roller coaster. It's totally uncertain. But the one thing that remains consistent is Colin's focus. And I suppose on a race weekend and even 24/7 when we're not here, when we're at home, at any point within our lives, my job is to enhance and to protect that focus. So whatever shape or form that may be.
Yeah, and after race 2, Colin had a disastrous race 2, and he ended up in the pit lane. But he come back and he was on the telly speaking to Louise, and it doesn't seem to faze him. Is that a strength of his then?
It is. It's strength of character and strength of emotion, because if you let the emotion, if it's a bad day, take control, well then of course you're compromising your performance. But if you can remain in control and keep the focus, well then you continue to do the job that you intended to do at the beginning of the day.
And have you seen Colin change as the 2 young lads have started to grow up, or has he just been the same Colin? Because you guys have been, how long have you been together?
When I was 15, so I'll not tell you my age now. But yeah, so quite a while.
And do you see a change in him?
Well, I think when you become a parent, a lot of things change. It puts things into perspective. And Colin realised that he's not getting into the car to fight for himself or the team. He's fighting for his family and for our future, which we've had to do, especially in 2013. And that adds an extra level of focus and his determination.
That's a good point, actually. I have seen him changing the way he operates, and a lot of people were questioning how fast he was going to be this year against the likes of Jason Plato, but he's acquitted himself amazingly, isn't he? And how do you see that going on from here? Do you really believe he can win the title? I really do, to be fair.
I completely believe that Colin...
Hi, Louise.
A la menu, everybody.
He's trying to make up because he had a heated argument with me. And I think we knew I won.
I don't know. I'm still not coming.
Is your French good then? Did you understand what he said?
We often speak French because I have French family, so I think that kind of makes him think he's on a more at ease level with me. I can't even remember what you asked me, Paul. I do believe that Colin has the ability to win the championship, but as we know, things ebb and flow, and you've got to have the rub of the green, but he will 100% give it his all and try and be a back-to-back BTCC champion.
Good lad. And do you think the stresses and strains of this motorsport life will ever, change you guys? It must be a lot of stress and strain. It's 24/7, as you say, for you, not just for him as well.
Well, you realise that is the main goal, and that's what you're always working toward. And as far as I'm concerned, I want to be the best wife that I can be, whatever job I do. I want to be the best, so I want to give Colin the best family environment of which to allow him to do what he does best. And I think we will always continue with that approach, and long may we.
Perfect. You're amazing, Louise. Thanks for talking to us.
No problem, Paul. Thank you.
Driver of the day at Knockhill this weekend, you've got to say it's Aidan Moffat. A great drive in the third race from the front row of the grid. He had a great battle with Andy Prio. Prio crossed the line ahead. Post-race, clerk of the course decided to reverse the position, so we can say podium finisher Aidan Moffat. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
Especially after what happened 2 weeks ago. To finish on a podium anywhere is great, but to do it at your home track, it's always going to be a bit more special. Just a bit of a shame we didn't get to celebrate it on the podium, but it almost rings a bell to Adam Morgan's first win not so long ago, so hopefully there's more to come.
When you look back on the race, yes, you can get all excited about that third place, but what else do you take from it? I mean, presumably each time you go out, you're still learning.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was our first year full season last year. We learned a lot, but to a slight extent we're learning it all again. The way this car feels, it feels like a completely different car. Of course it is, but it just feels so different to drive. So each time we go to a track, what I think my limits are, it turns out my limits are slightly beyond that, and it's to build up past what you think a limit is. You can't. It's hard to take a chunk. It's kind of a bit at a time to see what you can get away with. So yeah, it's to do that when still pretty fresh to the championship and still learning. It's a great experience.
Let's just go back a few weeks to Snetterton. You had that accident that, when you looked at the damage externally to the car, it didn't look that bad. Clearly, it knocked you around. How's that affected you, both in terms of mental state and how you attack things now? Has it made you perhaps a bit less ambitious, or do you just brush it off and carry on because you've got to get on and race?
I want it more than ever. Standing at Snetterton on Sunday, watching all the cars go by and knowing I should be on there was close to torture.
Really?
As close as I've had. So, I mean, to stand and watch and know that, to think to yourself, I should be on that track just now, it gave me a lot more fight to get back, and it showed me how much that I do love being out there and how much I want it.
But was that an incident where perhaps the confidence was a little bit too high? Have you changed your attitude going into action now, or are you still as committed as you were before Snetterton?
I think it was quite unfortunate. We tried a completely different setup to what I've ran all year. And the car felt brilliant, to be honest. We went on to better tyres for FP2. Still not great, but because it was better tyres, it's almost as if I said in my head, these are good tyres. Unfortunately, better tyres than what we had coming away from Croft, being such a bad track on tyres, and good tyres are two completely different things. So I think I just tried to extend my braking point a bit too much, and I think a bit too early on. I didn't have the full temperature in the rear, and it was just a bit unfortunate, and another thing to learn from.
Whereas you'll go to Rockingham thinking, I can do this, I can run at the front, I can keep all these big names behind me. Psychologically, this has been a good day as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, of course we got a bit lucky to be drawn on the front row, but you need to be there to get the luck. So I mean, not just that, battling with Andy Prio, and when you start on the line and you see Matt Neal behind you and Plato, who are two of the most experienced guys in the business, and you're probably the opposite. I mean, obviously Neil got past with a mistake, but to have a race with them and keep in the mix, it's a big confidence boost, because they're the guys when I used to watch, you kind of looked up to, who are week in, week out, there and thereabouts for a win. So to be around them on the track, it's a big confidence boost.
Final question, we head to Rockingham next. Is that a place that you like as a driver? Does the Mercedes like it? What are the chances there?
It's not a track I know well, but the Mercedes is good with fast corners, which there are a few of at Rockingham. I mean, there's a few tight, twisty bits also, but I mean, turn one and some of the infield is quick corners, and the Mercedes tends to do well there. And the Snetterton setup we did try on the test day we got, and the Saturday, I think that will suit Rockingham. We crashed obviously, but I was happy with how the car felt, and I think if we can try and take that setup again and work on it, I think the car should feel the best it has felt yet.
Just imagine being a touring car racer. You've got 3 races of a Sunday, you've also got practice, you've got qualifying on the Saturday, and then imagine trying to do that and also be the dad of a racing driver who's also got 3 races over the weekend. That is what Rob Collard now faces. His son Ricky is in the MSA Formula. Rob himself is still active, still winning in the British Touring Car Championship, and Paul O'Neill caught up with him during the weekend to ask just how hectic is his life these days.
Rob, good weekend, but what I want to speak to you about is Ricky, and obviously it must be difficult. You've got races to do yourself, races for him to do. What's the sketch, mate?
Oh, it was difficult. Race 3 for him then, I really felt, it was like I was standing there going, oh God, it's so crucial to try and get the lead back in the championship. And, he drove a stunning race. And but my heart was in my mouth. I had butterflies. I was more nervous, and than when I was racing myself.
Do you have a lot of motorsport chat at home then? Does he learn a lot from you, or he's single seaters at the end of the day? It's completely different to what you do, isn't it?
Yeah, but it is. But what I try and teach him is not about how to drive, but how to be a sportsman. The mental side of it, the training, the physical part, and the discipline that you need. You have to be very disciplined to be a good racing driver. And he's starting to learn a lot. He listens to me about that much, and he listens. He'd take more advice off of you than he would off of me. And that's really bad.
What does he say is the most difficult part about the race weekends? Is it watching you? Is he nervous, or does he just shut all that out? How hard can it be? You're so busy yourself. What is it like for him?
I think it's very tough for him. I know I'm always the son of Duffy Collard. The legendary hot rod world champion. I've had to live with that all my life. It's a great thing. No problem with that. And he's got the same thing. He's either the grandson of the legend, or he's the son of mine. And it's a lot of pressure on his shoulders. But he's been racing a long time. He's raced all over the world in karting. And he's really come of age at the moment, and he's driving very maturely. And I think if he can just keep building on this, there is a 1, 2, 3 in the championship, thereabouts. I'm not going to say he's going to win the championship by any means, but if he just keeps doing what he's doing and keeping focused, and not doing anything silly, I think he's on for a very, very strong end of the year.
And where do you see him going next? And do you ever see him racing with the legendary Rob Collard?
Well, I can see him racing with his brother. His little brother's coming up the karting ranks at the moment, so next year he might come into maybe the MSA Formula or into Ginettas. We're not sure yet what we're going to do with him over the winter. It would be lovely. It would be absolutely the icing on the cake for my career to race with him, maybe at Le Mans or something like that. So, that brings a flutter to me, really. So, I think he's got a big year next year, whatever he chooses to do, whether that's, if we can get the budget together for GP3 or F3, that would be really where he'd like to be. Arden are really, really keen to keep him on their books, and to go and do some winter testing in Abu Dhabi and places like that. So, I can't predict where it's going to go. Becoming a member of the BRDC Rising Stars this week has been a major uplift for him in his confidence and awareness and recognition which he deserves. So, if we can maybe work forward and, if he can get maybe nominated for the McLaren Autosport Award, he's got to go there and then race against 6 or 8 of the best kids in the country, and there's nowhere to hide on that. And, I'd love to see him make that if it's possible. I don't know, it's in the hands of the God, really.
Well, I've never seen you so emotional, mate, so that was really nice. We'll see you at Rockingham, and good luck.
Yeah, thank you, Paul, and thank you, Scotland.
Pick a description of Jeff Smith if you wish. Businessman, racing driver, team owner. They all seem to fit, and your life just gets busier and busier. Why on earth, when you come back into the championship, do you want to go and buy a team and have all the extra hassle of running that?
Mr. Jordan did a good selling job on me. He said it's easy, it runs itself. When I looked up and down the pit lane, when I decided to come back into it, there weren't that many teams that I felt were right for me to go and drive for. So me and Mike had a chat, and it seemed the right fit. So we did the deal.
All right, let's wind the clock back a bit, because the story kind of starts, 2.5 years before. You're in the championship, teammate to Andrew Jordan at Eurotech, and then we got to Silverstone and you stood down, the time wasn't really right or something.
I'd made a business decision 6 months earlier that turned out to be probably the worst business decision I've ever made. Some you make good ones, some you make bad ones, and that was a dismal one, and that really messed up my head, and it wasn't the right thing to go race at that particular time.
So when you were in the car even, was it preying on your mind? You'd sort of hammer down to a corner and think, I need to go and talk to so-and-so about redundancies or whatever next week, or, was it getting to that point?
Yeah, exactly
Really?
that, exactly that. After I've been round turn 1 at Silverstone 3 times, I think, and twice of them ended up pointing at the barrier, and once about a metre away from the barrier on the inside, I thought, I'm not quite on it here. So decided to pull out at that point.
Okay, so you had a year out of the BTCC, did a bit of other racing, then the time was right to come back in, but another great business decision, I'll buy a team. I mean, surely it must add to the workload.
Yes, it definitely does. It's a different workload though.
Right.
ICD is my main business, and that's all about pressure and selling and providing customers with a good product. and this is different. It's a completely different pressure, and in fairness, the guys all know what they need to do. You know, you've seen how well the cars are performing. It's just probably me and Martin, to be honest, that are perhaps letting the side down a little bit at the moment.
What's the long-term aim? I mean, it's not just your playground necessarily. I mean, I assume that Eurotech would continue. You'd want to promote the team and run in other categories, perhaps even if you weren't a driver.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you have to separate the two, and it's a commercial decision. You know, the BTCC is an amazing place to advertise your company, and that was one of the biggest decisions behind it. Whether that's me in the seat in the future, certainly it works very, very well with me in the seat at the moment from an advertising point of view. Who knows what that will bring in the future. Looking to increase the team to 3 cars next year. Okay. So that's one of our major plans, and hopefully we'll find a quicker driver than me and Martin.
It must feel a bit strange though for some of the guys that have been with Eurotech when it was a Jordan team. Now it's a Smith team. The Jordans are based on the same business park, aren't they? Sort of a stone's throw away. It must feel a bit strange now and again.
They're next door.
Next door.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they've not moved away. They're still in the same premises. So yeah, the guys found it a little bit strange. For me, it's Eurotech. It's not Jeff Smith. It is Eurotech. Right. So it's, as I say, it's a commercial decision, and it's a business that needs to stand alone on its own 2 feet and operate. So it's certainly not a perhaps as it was a family-run organisation. These guys are all professionals. You know, we've got 5 full-time guys there, and you know they're really good guys and professional in what they do.
And you and Martin Depper, your teammate, you seem to get on like a house on fire. It must be a good atmosphere in the team.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's very, very good.
Especially when you beat him.
Yeah, it's even better when I beat him, isn't it? Yeah, I think from my point of view, I push myself and I always try and help anybody around me. And I think Martin's really appreciative of that, and that's one of the things that we've really worked together really well. Yeah. I've managed to help him push on in areas where he was perhaps struggling previously. He was very disillusioned towards the end of last year and beginning of this. His head's in a good place now and believes he can do it, as I've always felt I could.
And this weekend, the team seems to have made another step forward because the cars have been very competitive all weekend. There's been the odd bit of gravel that's been brought back at the end of a session, but largely they've been very quick and they're in the mix.
Yeah, FP1 was, you know, our position didn't reflect where we should have finished FP1. Again, that was down to me not stringing a complete lap, but we threw loads of changes at the car, so we're in, out, in, out. FP2, you saw the results of that, and put it P2. Unfortunately, didn't take that over into qualifying quite. Didn't quite string a lap together, put a banker lap in that was a reasonable lap, and then didn't string the ultimate lap together. Unfortunately, Knockhill's quite a short circuit, and you end up tripping over people. Yeah. And that was it really. That was lap gone.
And now to Rockingham.
Yeah, Rockingham. Historically, I've gone reasonably well at Rockingham. Outperformed the other 2 Hondas, the Works Hondas when I was last there. So. Or out-qualified, I won't say outperformed, out-qualified, the other 2 Hondas. So yeah, and I like the circuit. A lot of people say they don't like the circuit. I find it a good circuit, it's technical. And yeah, really enjoy going there. So hopefully we'll get it right for there as well.
You can always rely on Knockhill, can't you, for good racing, for close action, for lots of drama, and a bit of damage as well. It's time for something a little bit different. It's going to be a Paul O'Neill special. It's an archive crash of the week.
Paul O'Neill is in real strife and he's in the barriers as well, and that is a big impact, and I fear that BMW was involved again there. The 2 of them look pretty close coming out of the hairpin, and that has put Paul O'Neill out of the race. It's given him a damaged car, it's brought the safety car onto the circuit as well, and the return to the championship, I'm afraid, has not been a happy one.
This, believe it or not, is a tyre wall that Paul O'Neill hasn't hit at Knockhill, but we're about to leave a place with all this wonderful topography, the undulations of the circuit, a tight lap, a short lap, hairpin at the end to stimulate overtaking. We go to Rockingham, a longer lap, a wider circuit, a nice big concrete wall to catch out the unwary, and the whole dynamic of the racing is going to change next time out for sure.
Massively, and as you say, it's long. If you've got a slippy car like the CC, you've got the MGs, those kind of cars are going to be right up there. So you Jack Goffs, I reckon. Jordan will probably win one, and you'll see probably Aaron Smith get a victory as well. So them guys are going to be right up there for sure. But BMWs, they'll be okay, but not like they are around here. They won't be like that at all.
Where do we go in terms of the championship now? The likes of Jason, Shedden, Neil. Are they going to go for wins? Are they going to go for points? Are they going to get stuck in, or are they going to keep out of trouble? Because, you know, we've still got 9 races to go. They can't throttle back yet, can they?
They'll start to throttle back.
Really?
I'd say they'd probably go to about 70% throttle. Maybe not Shedden, though. He seems to be attack everywhere, doesn't he? I think you'll find that probably, I don't know, Plato will probably go full scale, and he'll be flat out at Rockingham, and he'll probably get 2 wins. So I think he might stretch it. But then when we get to the last 2 rounds, that's going to be where you've got your top 6 and the ballast will come into play. So maybe your Matt Neal might come out of nowhere and actually win the title. So Rockingham's going to start it all off, though. That's definitely going to be the place that it's going to happen.
But then presumably you'll get some spoilers as well, because there are those that don't have to worry about the championship. They'll be after their own places, their own race wins, potentially, taking points away from those 3, 4, 5, 6 drivers that do have a chance of the championship.
Matt Jackson, that's what he's done this weekend, isn't he? They'll be pretty strong there, but you've got high tyre degradation at Rockingham.
Okay.
But definitely the A-class Mercs probably will go well around there. But it's down to tyre degradation and who's got the best setup, really. But yeah, there is going to be some strange results, and I think you'll find that people will be throttling back a touch, but not massively until we get to the last 2 weekends.
So Rockingham then is the next stop for the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship. Qualifying on ITV.com on Saturday the 5th of September. All the race action comes on ITV4 on the Sunday. The championship story is getting ever more exciting. The next chapter is to be written at Rockingham.